Since the beginning of WoW's creation, players have had the ability to add titles to their character's name, showing off their accomplishments and prestige to everyone around them. These titles could be obtained from high-end Mythic raiding, PvP, or even just pet battling a lot. Over the course of this video, we're going to go over the hardest to obtain titles of the game. The rules for this list are pretty simple. Any currently unobtainable titles or titles that will very easily be presumed to be removed will not be included on this list. This means rank 1 PvP titles, even the current seasons, will not be part of this list, and any other removed titles as well. For our very first entry, we have the Cryptkeeper title from Shadowlands. This title will be given to the player upon completing the Accuser Avowed achievement in Revendreth, rewarding Cryptkeeper. This achievement has one of the lowest obtain rates in the game's history, and its grind shows why. This would be a 3-part achievement, and to complete the first one, Cryptkeeper, you would need to open 50 atonement crypts. To open these crypts, you need to farm mobs in the Halls of Atonement open world, not the dungeon. These mobs would typically have the depraved tag at the beginning of their name, and killing any of them has a chance to drop a key. You would then take the key and open a crypt and do this 50 times total. The second achievement, called Absolution for All, can be completed by helping 100 fugitive souls complete a ritual of absolution. As you farm the depraved mobs of the zone, you will occasionally come across friendly ghost NPCs that are chained to the ground. You can speak to these NPCs and select the dialogue option, and they will begin to follow you around. You can take these souls to the gargoyle statues around the area and find a group of friendly Venthyr NPCs who will now have the option to begin the ritual with the spirit you grabbed from earlier. You'll be prompted to kill a couple of mobs that spawn from the ritual, and once the soul is freed, you can leave, earning a credit towards the 100 needed for the achievement. For the final achievement, It's Always Sunny in Revendreth, you will need to kill 10 Inquisitor NPCs that are scattered around the zone. These NPCs will be completely immune to your damage, unless you acquire their Sinstone and read it out loud to them, making them vulnerable. You can acquire these Sinstones from killing the depraved mobs around the zone, but also from using the Sinstone Fragments currency you've earned from looting these mobs. You also must complete a short quest chain to actually have the ability for these to not only drop, but be purchased from a vendor with the fragments called Our Forgotten Purpose. Once completed, you'll meet an NPC called Archivist Fane, who will then have a quest that lets you turn in fragments to gain a Sinstone. There are certain tiers of the Inquisitor mobs also. These tiers are just the generic Inquisitor, the High Inquisitor who needs the blue quality Sinstones, and the Grand Inquisitor that requires the purple quality stone. For 100 stone fragments, Fane will offer you a baseline Inquisitor stone. For 250, he'll offer you a High Inquisitor Sinstone instead. In the case he gives you a Sinstone of an Inquisitor you already have, you can delete the item and then turn in another batch of fragments for a new attempt. When you kill a High Inquisitor, you will receive a Grand Inquisitor's Sinstone fragment. Upon collecting 10 of these items, you may turn them in for a purple quality stone. This means you must kill at least 20 High Inquisitors total before killing the 2 Grand Inquisitors, leading to about 5,000 Sinstone fragments if you were to never loot a stone off of the depraved mobs. After completing all of these steps, you would receive your title and be done with the grind. This grind can be completed in a single day if you're lucky enough. What made the grind slightly easier back in Shadowlands, however, was the ability to realm hop. With these zones mostly abandoned, realm hopping is no longer a viable option and can lead to players grinding for days, if not weeks on this title alone, depending on their commitment. Due to the small amount of RG and amount of time invested in this achievement, it makes the top on our list, but with the ability to finish it within a day with no help, it earns the bottom spot at number 10. Following number 10, we have the Insane title. This title will be rewarded to a player upon completion of the Insane in the Membrane achievement. Essentially, what the achievement asked you to do was earn a high reputation with a certain amount of factions. Seems simple enough, but these particular factions had the unique approach that killing a certain NPC correlating to a faction would make you actually lose rep with the faction but earn it with others. You would need to earn at least Honored with the Bloodcell Buccaneers, and Exalted with Ratchet, Booty Bay, Gadgetson, Everlook, Darkmoon Fair, and Ravenhold. All of these reputations should be earned on the same character. When it comes to earning reputation with the Darkmoon Fair, all you have to do is just complete the weekly quests that are provided while the event is up. The fair appears every Sunday of the month and lasts the whole week. The amount of dailies you can complete mostly resides on your certain professions and staying committed when it shows up. You can earn the Wii reputation buff, also giving your reputation buff increase from all sources to speed this grind up. To earn reputation with the 4 goblin factions, you can go to the east of Tanaris and kill pirates behind the Cavern of Time. They spawn like crazy and there's a lot of them, meaning you'll be running around killing them for a long time. After earning Exalted with these factions, you can grind the Bloodcell Buccaneers faction by killing goblins in the previous faction, like Booty Bay. Killing them will lower your standing with the goblins you just earned Exalted with, but you only need to get them to Exalted one time before getting honored with the pirates. For the final faction, Ravenhold, you must kill NPCs with the Syndicate name in the Arathi Highlands, earning your reputation with them. Once you hit Revered, however, these mobs will stop giving you reputation, and the only way to earn rep from this is to now pickpocket mobs from high-level vanilla zones like Searing Gorge. This means you are basically required to have a rogue character, and you'll be running around and stealthing, pickpocketing these mobs. Pickpocketing these mobs will occasionally give you heavy junk boxes. You can send these junk boxes to the character you're already farming on, but cannot sell them on the auction house. Unless you're a human, to speed up the process with a reputation racial, this part of the grind can have you stuck for hours on end, as you need 1,400 boxes total to turn into Ravenhold. Once this is completed, you'll earn your title. This grind has been infamous since its creation for the lengthy grind, and even after over a decade of its existence, it still holds some of the lowest completion rates for all titles. You can rest assured that anyone with this title has committed countless hours, if not days on end, farming this title alone and is keeping up with its namesake. Though, because the grind is able to be completed solo, the most waiting you'll be doing is waiting for the Darkwind Fair to come up. It doesn't quite beat the other entries in this list, but is still viewed as a pinnacle of grinds for WoW achievements. And at number 8, we have the Herald of the Titans title, rewarded from the same achievement name. This title will be rewarded to players that defeat Algalon the Observer from Old War and Wrath of the Lich King at level 30 without anyone in the raid wearing gear higher than item level 107. The achievement is relatively straightforward, but when you start to look closer into what's required, you see you might be here for a while. Basically, you must assemble a raid of at least 10 players for a composition of 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 6 DPS. You can, of course, customize your lineup, but this is the very minimum of what's required. Once you have 10 willing players, including yourself, you all must make characters and have them reach level 30 and freeze their XP gains once you get there. You can do this by speaking to a rogue NPC in your faction's capital war room. By this point, you must gear your toon and they cannot wear anything higher than item level 107, meaning even loot from 10-man normal ICC and beyond is off limits. As a solo level 30, you cannot clear these raids and you will be forced to employ the help of your fellow raiders to carry you through the content and obtain your BIS gear for this level. Once you have fully geared out your team with nothing higher than item level 107, you may journey to Old War and begin your quest. There are 2 methods in clearing the bosses to reach Algalon. The first is having a high level character pre-clear everything with a level 30 character present, but has been known to have buggy and inconsistent results. The second option is to clear the bosses in your path to reach Algalon himself, requiring you to learn the fights and strategize new methods of killing them for your achievement. Once this is done, you can fight Algalon himself, and if your raid group has met the requirements for the achievement and you down the boss, you will all receive your Herald of the Titans title. There are many guides on compositions and overall strategy to approach the bosses for this achievement, and I highly recommend looking up some of them to learn the best approach for this run. Herald of the Titans earns its place for not just being a time-consuming grind, but also needs a raid group level of players to commit with you. With real-life schedules and needing help to gear your characters to old content, you may be stuck preparing for this achievement for a long time. And at number 7, we have the Of the Deeps title from BFA, added in patch 8.2. This title will be rewarded for completing the Undersea Usurper achievement. This achievement would be a massive meta achievement for the Nazjatar zone. There would be a total of 17 achievements needed to complete this, and the general time to complete this would be enormous. Tackling the necessary achievements required for this reward looks something like this. Kill every rare in the zone. Open tons and tons of treasures. Explore the entire zone. Complete 30 different daily quests. Defeat all of Azshara's champions from a special world quest. Earn Exalted. And level all of your followers to the maximum rank. This is an incredibly brief summary of the meta, and there are even more necessary steps to attain this title. To explain how to complete each achievement in one video would require a video of its own, so we'll go over how the duration of this grind is really long. Upon completing the intro to Nazjatar, you'll meet your follower, and this follower will accompany you throughout all world content in the zone. You can level this follower by doing the daily quest it offers you, and there is a total of 3 followers. This would be the most vital part of the achievement, as you must maximize them all. This task alone will, at minimum, take you 90 days to finish. This is also implying you never miss a day of dailies and keep up with it every single day for 3 months. Leveling your follower alongside the various other achievements this grind forces you into will leave many players stuck for an uncomfortably long amount of time. Though, because this achievement has a very set time on how long it will take to complete, rather than relying on RNG to factor in your chances, it doesn't earn any higher on this list, despite being one of the lengthier grinds in the entire game. In addition to the title, you will also receive the Snapback Shuttler mount, making the grind you put up for more than worth it in the end. There's no real way to cheese this achievement's duration either, meaning no matter what, you will be on this farm for a long time. And at number 6, we have the Abominable title from Shadowlands. This title will be given to players upon the completion of Things to Do When You're Dead achievement, when part of the Necrolord Covenant. This would, like the previous entry, be another massive meta achievement tied into daily and other various activities throughout the zone's content. In Shadowlands, you could select one of 4 covenants, and one of these would be the Necrolords. Upon selecting this covenant, you'll be allowed entry into their base and access their many rewards when completing their content. For the Necrolords specifically, you could earn the title Abominable. Every Covenant had a mini-game that could be unlocked through the Covenant Sanctum upgrades, and this game was the core function of the achievement to reward your title. To unlock this upgrade, you must obtain enough anima and redeem souls from the Maw. You can farm these souls infinitely in either the Maw or Torghast, and it'll reward you with the necessary currency. When it comes to anima though, you can just complete any form of content in the Shadowlands and it'll reward you some anima needed to upgrade your Sanctum. This is important as the achievement will need you to maximize the rank of your Sanctum to completely finish the achievements pertaining to it. Once you have done this, you will unlock the Abominable Stitching minigame, which allows you to create your own undead constructs or profession-like system. You could collect the necessary materials by killing anything in the open world of the Shadowlands and completing weekly objectives provided to you by the constructs you made. Basically, the beginning will be incredibly slow in terms of finishing your grind, but as you get closer to the end, you will notice it begin to speed up. Each construct would offer you a weekly quest at random, and one of the more time-consuming aspects of this meta would be to complete every single weekly these constructs would offer you. This part could leave players stuck for months, if unlucky, and spending much more time than the previous entries for Of the Deeps. You would also be prompted to create every single construct and obtain 25 cosmetics for your constructs. These cosmetics could typically be crafted with the same materials you used to make the constructs in the first place. The easiest portion of this achievement would be completed when crafting 100 anima-bound wraps to summon Visectus, Spectre of War. These wraps also share the same crafting materials, and you would only need to summon the associated NPC once. Depending on your RNG, this grind can take you an unbelievably long time, but can thankfully be entirely soloed. Similar to the Of the Deeps title, you will also receive a Taurolus reward mount in finishing the grind, making it more than worthwhile to complete this farm. And at number 5, we have the Trainer title. This title will be rewarded for players upon finishing the Deadly Pet Brawler achievement. The grind for this achievement was incredibly simple, but very time-consuming. In Mists of Pandaria, Blizzard would introduce a new system pertaining to your companion collection that would allow you to participate in a turn-based Pokemon-like minigame called Pet Battles. You could level your pets to level 25, and each level would improve their overall performance and extra abilities. Each pet would be given a family type, meaning that certain pets would be able to counter other pets. As an example of this, having an aquatic pet will do bonus damage to elemental pets, but take extra damage against flying pets. Each pet's family also had unique effects, like the undead being able to return to life during combat with just 1 HP, so they get 1 extra hit in on their opponent. This system is very generally ignored by players, but Blizzard continues to iterate upon it because of how fun it can be for the casual player, and is regarded as a genuinely fun way to pass time in WoW. Blizzard would implement pet battle dungeons and legendary pets across Azeroth for players to participate in, challenging their thinking skills and grinds and collection for the perfect pet to counter these difficult challenges to be given the rewards. They would also be given the option to PvP against other players' own pets. For the Trainer achievement, you must win a total of 1,000 PvP pet battles through the Find Battle function, with a full team of level 25 pets. Find Battle was just an LFG-like style system which would pair you against a random player who had also queued for the content with you. This achievement was relatively straightforward, but because the players you're placed against are entirely random, you may accidentally walk into an entire team of pets that perfectly count as your own and lose. You must win to earn credit towards the achievement, and 1,000 wins, easy or not to some, is definitely a time sink. Thankfully, this achievement is account-wide, meaning leveling ults by completing pet battles can help you in killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, the queue times of these PvP battles are what really make the grind for this achievement, as there is really no incentive for players to pet battle outside of achievement hunters, and is generally disregarded as mentioned before. You could farm for this title for an insanely long time and be bored the entire time, waiting in queues and then maybe winning against your opponent, though it's not as bad as what's to come. And at number 4, we have the Nemesis Achievement titles. These titles would be added in Warlords of Draenor expansion. In WoD, your character would be given its own personal garrison where you could build your own custom buildings. These buildings would often unlock additional content in the expansion, some pertaining to professions and others being the Gladiator Sanctum. The Gladiator Sanctum, once built, would give your character out of combat increased regeneration, save fallen in Draenor zones, and most importantly, the Nemesis quest series. These quests would prompt the player to kill enemy players of the opposing faction in only Ashran or open world PvP of Draenor and slay a total of 500 of a certain race. There would be a version of this quest for every race, both Horde and Alliance, with the exclusion of allied races in Drakthir. You could only work on one of these quests at a time, and each race's title would be obtained in the same exact way, with the only difference being in which race you need to kill. For example, if you wanted the Deathstalker title, you must kill 500 undead characters, and only undead to earn credit towards this. Again, this credit is only earned through kills upon an undead in open world Draenor or in the epic BG Ashran. Because you can only work on one race at a time, earning each title can be an insanely lengthy process. In addition to these titles, some races simply have a much lower play rate than others. The most obvious example of this is there are more human characters than gnome characters. So when you want to farm the Gnome Bane title, you will have a much harder time running to gnome characters as they just aren't as popular as others. This unintentionally creates a much longer grind for players, and because you can only earn credit one character at a time, you can be stuck on just one title for an incredibly long time. If you're in a group with 5 other players in the same quest, however, each kill will instead credit you with 5. So if you kill a Tauren for the Butcher title with a group of 5 also on it, the Tauren now rewards you with 5 of the necessary kill credits. It really just depends on how lucky you are, but also you must actually kill the player. You cannot find just a way to AFK a battleground and earn credit towards killing enemy players for your quest. Many people just aren't that amazing at PvP either, making this achievement a very hit or miss in terms of attaining it, but surely harder than the other entries on this list. And because the method of obtaining every title is the exact same, it's shared an entry with all the other variations of this title, as just one cannot be mentioned without acknowledging all of the others. And at number 3, we have the Warlord of Draenor title. This title will be given to players when completing each Nemesis questline from the previous entry. This means you must kill 500 of every single race and only do so one at a time, as this quest does not allow you to earn credit for the race kills other than the one you are currently on. As mentioned in the previous entry, depending on the race you're currently farming, you could spend months at a time on that portion alone. And like before, credit is only earned in Ashran in the open world Draenor. Though even when you finally complete each Nemesis quest, you still have one more achievement to complete to earn this title. When you upgrade your Gladiator Sanctum to rank 3, you'll be given the option to queue for a special PvP instance called the Colosseum. This will put you into an arena with 15 other players, including yourself, and you must kill 100 total players in this arena. To unlock this level 3 version of the Gladiator Sanctum, you must also collect 4,000 broken bones from other players in PvP. You can collect these bones by killing players in associated Draenor zones, including the epic BG Ashran. This means you must either farm players in Draenor, which will be next to impossible, or spam a lot of Ashran runs and gain enough bones for the plans to upgrade your Sanctum. The fortunate part is that if you win in the previously mentioned arena, being the last player standing, this quest will be automatically completed. However, because this content can only be queued through the WoD Garrison building, it's almost never able to be filled with willing players. As of the Dragonflight pre-patch, you must have 15 people of the same faction and region as you with the level 3 Garrison and Gladiator Sanctum on 2 characters per person. If you win the arena, you will not be able to requeue for another week, meaning to help others in the farm, you will need a second character that intentionally loses over and over for the group. So in order to effectively meet the final criteria of this title, you need 14 other willing players completely willing to commit with you and perform high communication. Once this is all done, you will earn the Warlord of Draenor title for your character. Maybe someday Blizzard can bring this arena system back into modern WoW and allow anyone to queue for it as a PvP brawl, making the grind much easier than having to ask multiple people to help you. In total, you will need 3,500 kills on the enemy faction, 500 for each unique race. Even over a decade since its existence, over 99% of players do not have this title, and you will surely be grinding this title for months, upwards to years, depending on your devotion to it. And at number 2, we have the Bloodthirsty title. This achievement would be rewarded through its very straightforward achievement named 250,000 honorable kills. As the name implies, you must participate in PvP content and earn a massive total of 250,000 kills on enemy players. Not only is this grind just an insanely high number, but you must be present and contributing towards an enemy player's death, not camping a flag and waiting for the kills to rack up. There is truly no way to cheese this achievement, and you'll be on it for possibly years before even getting close to finishing the terrible task you've given yourself. Even though this achievement has existed since Cataclysm, over 13 years ago, this achievement only has a 2% collection rate amongst all accounts. Honorable kills are also not earned throughout your account, meaning you must complete this achievement on one character. It's a simple grind, but you will be on it for an insanely long duration, where even the most devoted to PvP players still do not have this achievement. For our final and hardest title to obtain in modern WoW, we have the Khan title, added in patch 5.2 of Mists of Pandaria. This title will be rewarded upon completing its namesake achievement, a massive PvP meta achievement that yields a completion rate amongst all WoW players at 0.3%. In order to complete this achievement, you must earn the Master of Battleground achievements from the Battle for Gilneas, Twin Peaks, Temple of Khot Mogu, Isle of Conquest, and the Silver Shard Mines. For each battleground, you must win 100 of each of those battlegrounds, and after this it branches into the uniqueness of each battleground. With Battle for Gilneas, you must capture 50 total flags, defend 2 bases in a single battle, win the battleground after being down 500 resources from the enemy, win in under 6 minutes, capture and defend a base in a single run, gasp under the double rainbow, Win with the enemy faction scoring 0 points, capture 2 bases in a single run, defend 10 bases, win 10 Battle for Gilneas while controlling all 3 flags, win by 100 points or less, and get 10 honorable kills at each base in a single battle. This is just for the Battle for Gilneas, and completing these achievements can already be considered basically impossible by the majority of players, and for the most part, they'd be right. The difficulty aspect in these runs can range from generally just uninformed players on how to play the game, others not aiming for your goals, and a limit of 5 players to queue with an unrated PvP. You can technically queue against an enemy faction that purposefully allows you to farm these achievements and earn everyone their title, but the portion that blocks this from happening is the Master of Isle of Conquest achievement, which can only be queued for in unrated and is a 40v40 battleground. This means even with a group of 5, you must hope that the other 35 players in your team are up to par and can do what needs to be done. You must also completely stomp the enemy faction, as there's no world in which they would let you win, at least not all 40 of them. This achievement is incredibly difficult, and you will surely be on it for years on end, even when truly committing to the farm. The fortunate part is, however, some of the previous entries can be farmed while completing this titles grind, like the Nemesis titles, so it's not entirely worthless to push yourself and others as far as you can go in PvP. And with that, it'll complete our list. WoW titles always breathe a person's commitment and prestige into a certain activity, and many times these titles are removed from the game, proving their might in a certain time frame of WoW's content. Even after over a decade of existence for many of these titles on this list, people haven't earned or even heard of some of the entries on this list, showing how rare they truly can be to the general population of WoW. Were there any entries on this list you disagreed with, or wished made the list in place of another? Be sure to let me know why, and I'd love to hear your reasoning down below.